Hi guys, my name is Luni. This is my channel. If you are new here, welcome, and if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Thank you for always coming here to show your support. In today's video, I'll be talking a lot about discovering your career path. One of the reasons why I'm talking about this particular topic is because I've had a number of people ask me questions around this topic, and I've had to say the same thing over and over again to different people. So if you don't know, I have a group of people that I call mentees that based on the career path that I chose, I tend to have these people ask me questions or just seek counsel with regards to their career path and sometimes even their personal life. So I'm making this video now just so that it makes it easier in the long run. When other people ask me, I'll probably just share the link to the video and then just add a few things. I always like to share my personal experience when I talk about things, just so that you know that I'm not just talking from something that I have read. I'm talking because I have experienced it, and because I have experienced it, I have also taken my time to research, and I'm only trying to help you through the process just in case you are in that situation, right? So you don't make some mistakes, or at least you better have an understanding of what you are about to get yourself into or what you are currently experiencing. That's a lot of English, but I hope you guys get the point. So using myself as a case study, I started out my career as far back as I think 2011, or let's say 2012. Yeah, and so if you live in Nigeria, once you are done with university, which is college for some people, there's this 1 year compulsory service that you do. It's more like you're serving your country, and most times if they do it right, you're supposed to be posted to a place that is kind of related to what you studied in school. I was posted to the north, and I remember that I told myself I was not going to stay there. I was there for 3 weeks for the orientation part of the whole exercise, and in that 3 weeks I knew I didn't want to stay there because I didn't even like the environment. I was used to being in the modern world, right? And that place was not so modern anyway, and then the environment wasn't very conducive. Even the weather was not it for me anyway. So I found a way to get myself posted back to the west, not where I really wanted, but I was at least closer to home. So and I remember that I served in a ministry that was related to what I studied in school. So what I studied in school was botany, and I was posted to the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Natural Resources. Yeah. So anyway, so I was just posted to the office, and what was I doing? I was like the secretary. Yeah. And all I did was to type letters, take minutes of meetings and things like that, which really wasn't anything. And I realized that half of the time when I go to work, I'm not doing anything. So in the middle of all of that, I decided that, okay, let me see if I can get a better job that will keep me engaged, because I really like being engaged. I'm not the kind of person to sit around and lazy around. No, that's not me. So I started looking for another job, and coincidentally I found one, and that had nothing to do with what I studied in school, but I knew that it was something I could do. It had to do with stock and accounts. So I was working for a store that sold electronics and things like that, and then they had 3 branches, and I was supposed to take stock and then take accounts of everything that goes in and comes out and things like that. So I did that alongside. So I had days I would go to that office, and then I had days that I would go to my place of primary assignment. That's where I was initially posted to. So I was juggling both, and that kept me as engaged as I really wanted to be. But at the same time, I knew that that's not what I wanted to do. Now, bear in mind, I said I studied botany. Even as far back as when I was going into the uni, it wasn't botany I wanted to study. I wanted to be a medical doctor, right? But I didn't get the cutoff mark for that in the university that I wanted to go to, and I also didn't want to go back home for another 1 year and write JAMB again. So I decided that, okay, what's the next available course? I just wanted to get this part of my life done with. So I decided to do botany. As the time I came out of school, I knew that botany wasn't something that I was probably going to work with. So I knew that I still had to find that thing. Fast forward to after service here, that was 2013. I now left where I was, and then I came to Lagos and started looking for a proper job. And somehow I knew that customer service was something I wanted to do. I like the fact that, you call into a system, they are the ones that pick your calls, they are the ones that get your issues and try to resolve those issues and things like that. So I was very interested. And then the fact that I was like the front desk person at my PPA also prepared me kind of for that role. So that was always the job I was looking for. Every time I applied, those were the jobs I look out for and things like that. So I started out my career in 2013 proper as a customer service representative. I know I've talked about, maybe in my most recent sit-down video I talked about that, and it was in a financial institution. So, and I enjoyed the job, and in the course of doing my customer service job, I moved into the human resources and admin part, because at some point I became the oldest individual in that organization, not by age, I mean by years of working in the organization. So even when we had to recruit new people, I had to actually be in the panel of interview. Also, when they eventually come on board, I had to train them. I had to do like knowledge sharing and things like that. So I started to juggle customer service and human resources at the same time. So I got interested in that aspect of the business. So it wasn't just about me helping the external client, it was also about me helping the system itself, and also helping the people in the system, making sure that these people that are coming into the system understand what the system is about, so that we can, at the end of the day, produce results. So that was when I started getting interested in the human resources part. But I didn't have my first degree in human resources. I didn't have any training. I was just doing it based on experience, and like I just happened upon the role, right? So even when I had to leave that industry, the next job I could get, that I did not even remember applying for that job. All I knew was I got a call. I applied a lot to different companies, but I knew that mostly I was applying to customer service roles or maybe administrative roles and things like that. And I know I got a call, and eventually when I went for the interview, it was going to be a facility management job. And when I was told about the system and everything, I found, okay, it's something I could still have to do with me managing people. Basically what I did in facility management job was to manage the staff, technicians, electricians, plumbers, cleaners, all of that, to make sure that they were doing their jobs and the residents of our facility were not complaining. So I take whatever issues those ones have, and then I get whoever needs to resolve the issue, and everybody's happy. Okay, so that means I still did a little bit of human resources, and then I remember that I did a lot of damage control, especially when it comes to employee having issues with the manager. I just had to be the one bridging that gap, right? I'm the person that wants to help whenever there's an issue. I'm not the type to sit down and say, oh, let everybody else do it. No, I'm not that kind of person. I want to be involved in it, not for anything, but just because that's who I am, right? So all of this over the years helped me to start learning where my strengths lied and where my weaknesses were, and he helped me to fully understand, maybe not fully as at that time, but at least he gave me an idea of what I really wanted to do with myself. And at some point I wanted to go for my master's, but because I wasn't even sure of what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to just go and do master's and then put the certificate again in the bag, just like my BSc certificate that I was not using, so I told myself that until I'm actually sure of what I wanted to do with myself, I will not waste money on masters and things like that. So I decided to chill, and along the line I got married, I started raising a family, so I could not even be thinking about that. I just wanted to do something, get paid, and just live my life, like that facility management job. I did it for maybe roughly a year. I had to have my baby, and I went on maternity leave, and I couldn't go back to that job. I couldn't go back because the nature of the job, there was no how I could handle it with a baby, right? So I knew that I could not go back, at least not at that time. So I decided to just stay home for a while. I tried my hands on, I had a business that I was running on the side. I had people there. So I decided, okay, now that I have time, let me sit down there and see if it's something that I'm going to be doing by myself. That didn't work out. Like that kind of business kept me in one spot. And then I realized that yes, I'm passionate about it, but not to the point where I'll be the one sitting down and doing it by myself. So I knew that was not for me. Then I tried my hands on something else, which I still do right now. That's I could do it at my leisure time. I could do it from home. I didn't need to have like a proper setup, at least not initially, So I started doing that. But I knew I wanted more, right? I'm a very ambitious person, not just because of the ambition, but because I also feel like there's a purpose for which we are all here. And I just wanted to make sure that on a daily basis I am fulfilling that purpose, whether it's at home as a mom or as a wife or out there to the community, you know. Early last year, that's 2020, I told myself that, okay, I think right now, based on the experiences I've had over the years, I think now I know what I want to do with myself. And 2020 was the year that I decided that I was going to start being intentional about what I wanted to do with my life, right? So I made a video early that year saying all of these things. And that's another thing, right? When things come to your mind, like ideas or whatever it is, decisions, things that you know you want to do, don't just let it come and then go. Find a way to document it, whether you are writing it down. I make videos, I write a lot, like I have my book here. I just write those things, and it helps you stay accountable. Then it helps you, you know, to have a clearer path, really. So I made that video saying that one of the things I was going to do was to go back into the corporate world, and if possible I wanted to go and do my master's now that I know what I wanted to do. And like I just wanted to educate myself more. Like I don't just want to be going with the knowledge of the past years. I wanted to know what is happening now, you know, things like that. So, and I started looking for a job, and a few days after I made that decision, trust me, I got a job. Now, I was very intentional about the industry because I already knew, don't forget, I already had an idea of what I wanted to do. So, even when there were other job opportunities or even with better pay or things like that, I chose the kind of industry I went into. Now, I knew that I might not be able to enter the industry as a human resource manager or human resource executive or whatever, because I only had associate experience in that field. I only had customer service majorly, you know. I didn't have that, so I knew that if I tried to apply for that role in particular, I probably would not be able to. It would take a while, you know, except somebody was willing to take a chance on you. So I told myself, no problem, I'm willing to start anywhere as long as wherever I start from will get me to where I'm going to. And that's one of my points. I'm coming back. So when I decided to go back into the corporate world, right, the job I took was in consulting industry. And even though the role was not what I wanted, but because I know that industry was related to what I was going to do eventually, I told myself I can start from here, and then I can build myself, you know, up to wherever I wanted to be. I just needed to start from somewhere, and I took that role. And that role also meant that I was going to be working with human resources professionals, which is where I was going to anyway. So I knew that I would be able to network, I'll be able to have an idea of what is happening in the industry at the moment, you know, and then I would know what I needed to do. And I started that job last year. Now, COVID came, some of my plans couldn't work the way I wanted it to work. I switched companies in between all of that, but it was still within the same industry, which was the consulting industry. And I was still doing the same thing that meant that I was working with human resources professionals. That was one of, like, my ways of being very intentional about what I wanted to do. And I can tell you that in the past 1 year and 6 months, I've had a lot of job opportunities that was going to pay me 2 times, 3 times much more than I was earning in the consulting industry. But because the role was not what I wanted, and at the same time it was going to take me out of that industry, and I knew I was staying focused, you know, focused. So I didn't take any of those roles because I knew what I wanted, right? But up until recently, and I was growing in my job, right? At least recently, I got promoted to the head of my department. But that was not what I wanted. That role was not what I wanted. But because I always say this in my videos, especially when I'm talking about, when I'm making videos like this, that whatever it is you find yourself doing, wherever it is you find yourself, do your best. Keep giving your best. Don't say, oh, this is not where I want to be. That's not what I wanted to do. This is not the kind of job I'm looking for. No. Do it. That's what you have at that moment, and do it well. Let people know you for that, because trust me, even if an opportunity comes and somebody needs to speak for you, which is what happened in my own case, the person judged me based on what they had seen me do and named me for a role in a field and the career path that I wanted. And I'm glad to say it here now that I'm now a human resource professional with a multinational telecommunication company. When I posted this on my LinkedIn page, somebody was like, your career progression is really inspirational. That's to tell you that somebody somewhere is watching. And even when like I mentioned earlier, I already had like a lot of job offers coming in, but because they were going to be in the same role that I was currently doing then, and at the same time it meant that I was going to probably switch industry, and I didn't want to do that because I really wanted to stay focused on where I was going, right? So for everybody that I spoke to, when people send me opportunities and things like that, I let them know that if it's not HR, guys, don't worry, I'm fine where I am right now. Like, I'm willing to wait. In fact, I already applied for one of the examinations that I was going to do, hoping that once I have that certification, I was going to have a better chance at entering that industry. But guys, one day I just got a call. Oh, Loni, I remember you spoke to me about wanting an opportunity in this industry, blah blah blah. Okay, so I have something for you. I'm going to just give you a summary of what I need and let me know if it is something you can do. And I was like, it's human resources, why not? But guys, I just went for the interview. In fact, that day I told myself I'm just going to give myself a shot, even though I know I'd been preparing. I'd taken some courses on Udemy on human resources. I have attended, I can't even count how many Zoom sessions I've attended about human resources. Those are the people that I work with on a daily basis, so I've been kind of preparing for this for a whole year. But even at the time I was going for that interview, I was still telling myself that she probably will ask me something that I will not be able to answer, but let's see how it goes. You can only try. And then the next day I got a call that I was going to be sent a link to take a test. And yeah, even that test there, it was at night, like in the evening time. My kids were here. I had to share my screen, turn on my camera and things like that. Like, they were monitoring me, all of that. I still had to manage, and I did the test. Now, 2 days after that, I got my offer letter. And I'm so excited, because it's not, sometimes it's not how far, but it's how, for those people that are worried about what happened to the job that I just got promoted in. Yes, so because I'm a very valuable staff, yes, if I do say so myself, they retained me as a consultant. Yeah, because it's also a job that I enjoyed, and I still enjoy, and I love my clients. So I'm still working as a consultant because I can't have two full-time now, and I'm enjoying my new job as human resources, HR. Anyway, let me get to the main point of this video. This video is going to be very long, but trust me, one of my mentees asked me, like, what can you advise? I'm so confused. I don't even know what I want to do with myself. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I don't even know if that's what I really want to do. This exam now, I want to take it, but I don't even know if I take it, if it's the right thing to do. And she said all of that. And the first thing I told her was, for some people, maybe for the majority, you probably don't even know what you want to do with yourself. That's the honest truth. But what I always encourage people to do is to start. I once had a mentee, sorry to digress, I once had a mentee that every single time she told me, HR, I want, ma'am, anytime you see any HR job, forward it to me, this, da. She doesn't have any experience whatsoever. She had finished from school, maybe going to 2 years or maybe a year and some months. And one day she told me that she got a job offer as a salesperson or something like that. And I know she's not going to take it. And one thing I told her then was, you don't even know if it's from that sales that you will get the opportunity that you are looking for. Is it not better to have experience that eventually when you even get the role, they are even looking at you like, oh, this person has cross-industry experience and at various positions, and then they take you, rather than you don't have any experience because you're just so focused on HR. So let me move back to the other person I was talking about. She said she was really confused, and I told her, I said when it comes to choosing a career path, it can be really confusing, especially because a lot of us, most of what we studied in school had to do with maybe what our parents wanted us to do, or what we thought every other person was doing, or what we thought was the in thing, right? And then at the end of the day, you spend 4 years in the university, you come out, and then it's like life is way different from what you were really expecting. Some people go ahead to use what they studied, right, to apply for jobs, and then they start doing the job. But over time, they still find out that, oh, they have interest in other things. Our current HR, or the current HR of my former company that I'm still working for as a consultant, guys, that thing can be very confusing. Anyway, she used to be a lawyer. She studied as a lawyer. She has a master, but now she's in HR. I know of accountants that are now human resources professionals. So that's just to tell you that even if you thought you knew what you wanted, it will get to a point where your interest, your hobbies, things that you are passionate about things that give you joy will now decide what you even want to do or keep doing with yourself. So it's very okay, like it's totally okay to be confused. That's the first thing I told her. It's totally okay to be confused. But the first thing I need you to even ask yourself right now is, what is it that I enjoy doing? What is it that when there's an opportunity to do that thing, I'm very excited to do it. If you can write those things down, you have crossed one of them. Then what are the opportunities that you always find? What are the things that are calling you right now that you can see that are readily available for you? Pick one. As long as it aligns with your values as a person, just pick it and start doing something. Because just like I said, I started as a customer service person, right? But it was in that same industry that I started my HR roles and responsibilities, even though that was not my job title. And I did that for like the majority of the time I spent in that company. If I spent 4 years, I did HR for at least 2.5 years. So you don't know, you just need a platform. And that platform is where you need to be able to fully express yourself and do the best you can. I cannot overemphasize you doing the best you can. Trust me, I knew I wanted to be a human resources professional. But for every role I did before now, whether it was by customer service or facility management or business development is like sales. Nobody really likes sales. But what we don't understand, which is a topic for another day, is the fact that there's sales in everything we do. It's just that some of us don't like that, being myself inclusive, right? I feel like it puts me under so much pressure when that is that's like my actual title, and I don't like. I never applied for any sales job like consciously. Every sales job I've had came whether somebody recommended me or somebody just said, I know you have the strength to do this and I want you to come on board and do it. But even though that was not what I really wanted, but that was what I was doing at that point, and I put my best. Like the Bible says, whatever your hands finds to do, do it and do it with all thy might. The person that recommended me for the role, the human resources role, is because we have worked together. She knows me, she sees my passion. In fact, when she was recommending me, she specifically told them that it will be sad for them to see her leave, because that's just me. Like I'm not going to work somewhere and you will not feel my presence. Not because I'm trying to get the attention, no, because whatever it is I'm doing, I'm taking it like it's mine, and I'm doing the best I can in that situation, right? So start somewhere. That's the point. And in that place, do your best. Whether your preferred role now comes from that place, or even if it's that you move somewhere else or something. I've had people that call me and tell me so person recommended places I've probably worked in the past. Like from the financial institution, one of my clients that knew me while I was working there recommended me for a role, similar role, things like that. If I didn't do my best, then nobody would even remember me. And in this life, you need people that will speak for you when you are not. And also talking to people, also like a counselor or something, like people talk to me. People, I feel like maybe because of the way I portray myself, or maybe because of the results that people can see. So to an extent, I'm privileged to have people that actually ask me for advice and ask me on career matters. If there's somebody that you really admire in your circle, like somebody that you just know and you admire this person, ask yourself, why do you love this person? Is it because of what they do? Is it because of their personalities? Or is it, things like that helps you to, start to pinpoint your interest and where you would want to be. Yes, then you can volunteer. This particular mentee that I'm talking about, she, like one of her aunties runs an NGO and she volunteers in a certain position, and that she loves it and that she sees herself having an NGO in future and things like that. Even in the volunteering, what sector? There are people that are passionate about children, there are people that are passionate about women, there are people that are passionate about youths, girls, things like that. Those kind of things that you're passionate about also gives you an idea of what you actually want to do with yourself. So don't be afraid, be open-minded. Just like I said, you might not be where you want to be, but don't be afraid to take that step. So like the other mentee I spoke about, that I told her, this is what you have been getting. And I'm sure it has to do with the fact that you have no experience. That's why probably these roles you apply for, nobody calls you. Take that step towards that other role. Just learn what you can on that job. And then if another opportunity comes calling, then you can easily switch rather than just sit down. Days are going by. If you don't have experience, it becomes even more difficult to get a job. and then you ask yourself, you have left school for how many years, you don't even have a proper job, or you don't even have proper experience, and you are not hireable. Let's move on. Never settle, meaning that even when you are in that role that you don't like, still keep pushing your dreams. I started applying for masters this year, and it was going to be in human resources, even though I was not in that role actively as at that time, but I was calling my future, and now my future is here. Be serious, girl. Anyway, give a few things a try. I've said that already. Follow your curiosity. I've talked about that already. Just choose. You don't know what it is you want. Okay, let me just try customer service. You don't know what it is you want. Okay, let me just try being an executive assistant. Trust me, I've applied for executive assistant roles several times because I feel like I'm the kind of person that a CEO of a company would love to have in his circle because I make things happen. That's not supposed. That is me. I make things happen. So there was a time I was actually applying for those kind of roles. Well, being married and having kids, some responsibilities you will not be able to afford, things like that. So I cannot afford to be following somebody all over the world, out of the country, out of the states, things like that. So at some point I have to cut that out of things that I was. You can also take a test. There are a lot of tests that has to do with them asking you your strengths, your weaknesses, and then somehow the results from that test gives you an idea of who you are supposed to be or who. Based on my story that I've told you, should already give you an insight on some of these things that I just talked about, my points. And I feel like I don't really need to explain it because I have a lot of videos on here where I've talked about most of these things. I only just decided to give you my own career path background. For the person that thinks, oh, my career progression has been really inspiring, it was. I won't say I'm lucky. I work for it. I prepare for these things. Let me give you one backstory, right? I remember that when I came into the consulting industry and I discovered that I was going to work in a lot with human resources professionals, I created a group, a human resources group. I'm not an HR professional, but I created a group and I brought human resources people into that group. I brought them together. I was very, very intentional. So you don't just say, oh, I don't know what I want to do, and just sit there and just be waiting. It will not come to you. You have to work to find what it is. I talked about purpose in one of my videos. I'm going to link it here. Any related videos, I will link it in the description box. That every single day you wake up is for you to find that which you are here for, you are on earth for. Like, why did God put me on earth? What is it that I'm supposed to do on earth? And you should not go to bed on a daily basis not getting closer to that dream or closer to that place. Every single day you wake up, you ask yourself, what am I supposed to do today? And at the end of every day, you ask yourself, what was I able to achieve today? I pray the Lord will help us. I'm a Christian. Yes, I would definitely say that. And I know this video is going to be very long, but I'm going to try and cut it as short as I can. But trust me, for everything I have said here, you need to hear it. And if you made it to the end of the video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share. A lot of people need to hear it and they need to watch it. And if you did not subscribe and you watched up until this point, please hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and I'll see you in my next video.